I think the quirkiness of the people in this country makes us Kenyans. You guys, everyone when you Twitter wanga imewaka moto. Love, rhythm, color. Three things that I'm passionate about are rhythm, humanity, and women. I'll explain. Rhythm is self-explanatory. I'm very passionate about drums, percussion, music, sounds, and textures in sounds, and the kinds of colors you find in sounds. Humanity in the sense of I care about people, I care about people's feelings, I care about the world in that sense, and I care about things that connect us humans to the world, like nature. I care about plants. So you can say I care about life. And then women, I care about women in the sense of I'm a woman and I care about women's rights and women's spaces and women's opportunities. I also care about the stories of women, and I deeply care about what women bring in society in the sense of balancing the existence of people. Crazy! A talent that people don't know of that I have is, well, I call it really a talent. I'm not sure whether it's a talent, but I think I'm quite good in speaking. I won't call it a talent. I'll probably call it in the words that other people have put it in as. I'm able to speak to people and give people assurance. So I don't take that for granted, and I think it's a gift really. What makes us Kenyans? I think the quirkiness of the people in this country makes us Kenyans. You guys, everyone when you Twitter wanga imewaka moto. As in, ukinga Twitter, you find the true spirit of our people, you know, the outspokenness. Our people are never serious, but I love Kenyans. Kenyans are quirky, they're punny, they're intense, but they're also mellow when they need to be. I've seen Kenyans come together, you know, when they're needed to be together. They actually just assemble and become one, you know. I've had different experiences as a percussionist in the music industry, in Kenya and outside Kenya. So one of my best experiences is I finished playing a gig, and when I finished playing the gig, a little girl came to me and told me, I heard you. And that really touched my heart. For whatever reason, for what she heard, yo ni yake, because I usually tell people I tell stories through music. I use percussion as a tool of expression to tell my stories. I collect stories from people, but I also tell my own stories and, you know, stories of the people that I represent, women, the Kamba community, Kenyans in general, people of my age group. I tell all these stories using the drum as a medium of expression. So what makes Kenya unique in the sense of musical expression is we are a curious people in the sense of composition and in the sense of expressing ourselves musically. One thing you can say about Kenyans in comparison to the rest of Africa is Kenyans like experimenting with different sounds. And that's why you cannot really pinpoint a particular sound that represents Kenya in that sense. That is good and bad on an equal scale, and I'll explain why. You know, when we talk about Amapiano, immediately you refer to South Africa. You know, when you talk about Lingala, Amarumba, immediately your mind goes to Congo, Central Africa. When we talk about, you know, Kora music, immediately your mind goes to the West of Africa. Kenya is not locked in that sense because Kenya welcomes all these sounds. we are experimental in that way. Think of it as a pizza. We don't have one standard pizza that represents us. Ni kurusha ingredients. Kila time we're still experimenting on different ingredients to see what outcome we have. And that's why, you know, we have all these interesting sounds that keep on popping up all the time. Sai tuko gengeton, kesho utasikia rumba trap, kesho utasikia sound ingine, and so on and so forth. We're a very, very curious nation, and I really like that about our musicians and our artists, because we don't box ourselves in one sound. We keep on experimenting, and that keeps us growing in that sense. So also that puts us on an international platform much easier, because fusions put you out better. I say fusions are the best way to invite people from outside inside the country, because it's a better way to feed people your culture rather than just hitting them with their raw culture. Sometimes it's a bit too much. So fusions are a very smooth way of welcoming people in, and that's really, really dope about Kenya. So some of the values that I have embraced in my craft are, one, and I think this is the biggest, to stay true and to stay as real as possible to my art. The first reason why I play, as I said, is because it's my happy space. If you ask me what I like doing, I'll say drumming, and another thing, drumming, you know? The reason that drumming comes out the way it comes out is because I keep it real 100%. So in the journey of life, there's a lot of factors that can affect us as human beings. There's stress in life, there's hardships, there's times when you're not at 100. So for me, the first value is keep it real, keep it 100. If I'm grieving, if I'm mourning, I don't go to work. I will not take a gig because I know I will not be able to give 100. And this doesn't mean that you cannot get stories from grief or from sadness or from hardships. I don't say that I only go to work when I'm happy. When I just feel in myself that I'm not in the space of giving art in that sense, I don't commit to doing that because I know I'm not going to give 100. I've had some beautiful performances, powerful performances when I was grieving, but I felt I could give at that particular point. I've had some beautiful performances when I was too excited. Sometimes you're too excited to do anything. And I gave powerful, good performances in that state. So for me, it's, you know, keep it 100. Number two, do it for its reason. Don't do it for the money. Because money is not the motivation. For me, the passion is the motivation. Do it for the passion, and don't do it for the money. And then three, as much as music is entertainment, and there's a very thin line that where professionalism can just fade out and you cross over onto the other side. So I try as much as possible to keep it professional during work. Work is work, and when work is done, then I can engage into, like, you know, being the other Kasiva, you know. But when it's work, it's work. It's something that I've had to teach myself over and over and over and over, because, as I said, it doesn't feel, and when I say feel or seem, it's not that it's not work, but it does, for me, it doesn't feel like work because it's such a joy for me, and it's the space where I exist completely freely. But I've had to really instill over and over and over and over that Kasiva, remember to be professional in that sense. So a word to any female percussionists who want to get into the game. One, it's work. It's work like any other work. You have to input work. Lazima ujitume. It takes a lot of practice to become a good percussionist. So that means inputting very long hours of work, long hours of rehearsal, long hours of research, and a lot of open-mindedness in terms of approaching different genres of music. If you don't have an open mind, then you'll be closed down to only what you know. And there's so much that other types and genres of music can offer you in terms of knowledge. But the biggest of them all, which is my rule of thumb, is if you don't feel it in your gut, if you don't feel that this is what you want to do, then don't do it. Because music is a game of passion, and you cannot learn passion, you cannot study passion, you cannot buy passion, you only have to feel.